Hello, everyone. Just do a quick sound check there. Welcome to SGM Islam. And this is going to be a live that I'm going to do today. With this live, we're going to have a Q&A session part of it. So I want to encourage anyone who's watching to ask as many questions, as I am new to Islam, and I'm going to share briefly a bit of my background and some experiences that I've had reverting to a Muslim, and I'll speak a little bit also on some other things that I've learned as well too. So briefly, I'll start with my background in terms of religion, as I was born and baptized as a Roman Catholic, and this was from a young age. I remember my family participating in some religious activities. I remember going to church as a younger child and participating in something called communion, and so I do have a little bit of a background there, but it was at a very young age. As I got older, my family, I would still get together with my family, and we would still go to church, and we would do other religious activities as well. But as I grew older, these activities were less into my teenage years, or say. As growing into a young adult, I still had a interest in religion, so I definitely searched and researched and took part in other things. One at a young age was, I remember visiting a Baptist church. I remember that. It was fun. And that as I got older, I participated in the culture of Rastafarianism. It is a religion out of, I think, Ethiopia. Some years after that, I went into more of Eastern types of, away from the Western world, and more into the Eastern types of religions, of maybe Hinduism, also some Buddhism. So I got to experience some of that as well too, some of the culture in that, and I found it quite interesting as well. Also, some time after that, I was very interested in spiritualism as well too. So this was a kind of another area where all of these Western and Eastern cultures would describe some way of getting connected with some higher being. And some of those things there I remember doing was, this one was Eastern. It was Falun Gong. It was very interesting, with works with chi energy. And also around that time, I became a Reiki master. I think that's Japanese. So I enjoyed this energy part of religion. I was able to connect with all of those, but I still had questions in terms of, I asked this with many religions, was how they pray. I would ask people how they pray. So definitely had some still questions even after partaking in parts of these other religions. As fascinating as they were, they left me with still looking for some faith. So that is just a bit of my past. As in the past few months, I've officially took my Shahada and entered into Islam. It was a great day, very special day. much like many things that I've done in my life, I'm not exactly sure why I did it, but I like to experience things. So this is, instead of just talk about it, this is one thing that doing is one way that I figure out how I like things. And the more I had a friend who I'd worked with the last couple of years, and he would speak heavily about Islam, and so I would listen again to gain more information. And some of the things that he talked about, I really was really resonating with um, me a lot, as I really enjoyed the community and the culture of what I noticed from some of the Muslims that I knew. So that definitely attracted me towards it. But like I said, after doing it, I learned a lot. And so these things are, the more I learn, the more fascinating, the more I get into it. So I'm going to go into like right now something that I found real calming. Um, I'm not sure the word, some level of content where in life you come across decisions you have to make, whether they be easy or hard. And then you ask yourself, people will pray, whatever they'll do something to figure out why they're going to make these decisions. So for me, lots of times I would be make uh, heavily calculated decisions, but based on maybe money, or maybe just money or numbers, just something that's highly logical. So I kind of stuck with science as a big driver, as I found lots of science to be logical, even though they have something called anomalies, which is, to me, it's a miracle. It's something that's unexplained by science. So science even has these types of unexplainable things that happen. So, but in terms of decision making, one, I'll talk about some experiences that this is something that I experienced just recent, as I might have approached it differently in the past, but now I approach it with what I've learned in Islam. Is I had two jobs, and or even really three jobs, and they said there were some scheduling conflicts, and I was thinking in my head which it'd be nice to do both of them because it's more money, but it wasn't possible, so I had to decide. But for me, the decision was very easy because the one job, comparatively to the other job, is I think all jobs have a little something you might question the morals behind it or where the money's coming from. But one job had clearly aspects of haram. So that decision for me, I didn't even really think about it, didn't have to stress over it or anything. It was just very clear that I would choose this one. So maybe in the past I might have stressed a little bit more, thought of the situation in a financial set, choosing maybe money over what would be just the number of money over how the money was made in that job. So this was something that I just experienced recently, which prior to Islam, I might have been this way, and now I'm this way. So it has helped me um, immensely in that way. And I'm gonna just go back to another decision. This was something that I made years ago, and it's interesting how years ago I really made a conscious decision to change maybe my connection with God, I guess. Something I just wanted more. I had these offers to go on this religious mission to Brazil. I had all these crazy offers coming out of nowhere once I made this decision. And so I took, some of the offers that just led me on a path where certain things just fell out of my life, whether they were good or bad for me at that time. Maybe I did not know, but what it was Allah providing me this foundation to build off of as I enter into Islam of late. Because for one example was I was going to purchase something with what I've learned is a major sin is riba, which is interest. Um, So I had done a number of financial calculations, was able to move forward in this process of doing this is for a living situation, a purchase for a living situation that at the time seemed like a great decision. It was saving lots of money, it just made tons and tons of sense. This was about 3 years ago. Looking back at that time now, it was a very hard situation for me to go through. It was very stressful. I couldn't make the decision. Not that I couldn't make the decision, I was forced to make the decision, is a better way to say it, to not be in that living situation. And I didn't really understand why. Looking back at it now from years ago till now, learning what I learned about this, I would have been in this severe haram interest, stuck in this for the next 30 years. So as you come across some things in life that may seem difficult or put in your place, or like I said, taken away, a lot of things over those last 3 years have just fallen out of my life. If you talked to me 3 years ago, I would have been telling you I would have done this, I've been doing this, completely different than what I'm doing right now. So all of these things are putting me on this path to getting a better connection with God. I firmly believe that. And this living situation, I didn't understand it now, but looking at it now, what I've learned in Islam, not like I'm ever a big fan of interest, but I might have made the wrong decision back then, or at least I was willfully making the wrong decision back then, where now I know why that situation came up. So I feel really good about something that maybe someone perceived as bad because of what I've learned through becoming a Muslim and learning about it and moving into Islam. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was this is with relationships with people, how this is another way that Islam and learning about the Quran and learning some what may be quote unquote good or bad for you is this is something that in the past I didn't necessarily partake in, is this thing. It's called the gossip. It's like maybe where someone will talk about someone else behind their back and maybe not be saying good things to them. I would say to the person, why don't you just go right up to them and don't talk about this with me, go to them and talk to them. So I would approach gossip in that manner most of the time. Sometimes maybe I would get caught up in it. It's a sin, so you will be tested on it. And I was. But now what I've learned in Islam, it's a major sin to gossip. So I had a recent relationship and this person was gossiping. And I said, why are you doing that? And they had no good answer. So it was very easy for me to let this person just fall. As much as I cared for them or whatever, it was very easy for me to let them just fall out of my life, as it would have caused things that kept me from getting closer to what I want as jhana. Not saying that I'm gonna make it, as much like anyone else, I've sinned. But I know that if I work hard, remind others about the truth and being patient. Sometimes things that you may suffer through, you could worry about or be too concerned about, or you could let them overcome you. These things are really things that you can build off of. And one just example today was setting up this live. I'm not very familiar with any of this. So I said that I would do this live. So in it, I had to figure out how to navigate the apps and such to make things happen. And I got much help from SGM Islam. So thank you. But I remember at one point, I was like, I don't know if this is there must be something wrong with the electronics. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this to happen. And SGM said, just pray the Shahada, pray the Darood and the Kalma. And then I was updating one of my devices. And so I went and prayed. And then when I came back, it somehow worked. So I'm not exactly sure what took place, but what I do know is the prayers worked. So this kind of goes back to one thing that I really appreciate is I'm not even sure if I'm praying right now, but I I've showed this before. I have my how to pray book, so I do use this every day and hit all my pray times. But more, I've was able to gain this faith through prayer. Thank you guys for all the comments. I was able to gain more faith through this prayer as I've used it daily. And I've prayed for things and they happened. So I'm not, I'm a being with logic, you do something and you get a result. I got the result. So this is something that I really appreciate. And I appreciate what I've learned in terms of learning how to do this prayer and those others around me who are supporting me in my learning process here. Because being new, I'm never going to be, I think, this is another thing that I wanted to touch on is something, as I touched a little bit on faith right there, as I've learned how having this faith can give me this sort of calmness or confidence. I don't know what it is. But also what I've learned too is this measure of what is valuable to me. I've made a lot of decisions in my life and I'm not exactly sure why I made these decisions, but I was following my heart, and within it, I couldn't necessarily explain it. But in terms of now, what I've learned in Islam, I can explain it because some people, they can give back in some sort of way, and some may pray all the time. They're very good at this. Some may be able to teach it. Some people may be extremely good at studying the material, and some people may be good at sharing the material. I'm not exactly sure how I can give back here, but that's the reason I'm making these videos, is because I just feel like it's some way that I can give back besides some of the 4 pillars that I do. I want to give back to some part to the world. I want to give something back. So if someone who is a revert or thinking about it, perhaps these videos can inspire them to do so. So those are some things that I wanted to touch on. It looks like there is some people watching. I don't know how many questions we're actually going to get, but there is a question from one viewer, Iman Khan. He says, is there any specific event that led you to Islam? Again, I spoke with this about my friend Ali. It isn't like a lot of people go through these life-changing events and they're like, I was trying to explain to him, I couldn't really explain it, but they're like, this is what led me here. I don't know what led me here except for this quest for my connection with Allah. That's the simplest way I could put it, and it's been more incremental. I can remember if in some of the other videos, you guys can, anyone watching this video, and go back watch some of the other videos that SGM Islam has let me document some of my experiences. It goes back to like when I was a child, where all of these scenarios were presented in front of me throughout my life, on and on and on and on, all leading me to this, where I am today. It isn't just any one event. It's a series of every single event that has taken place in my life that has brought me here. So again, a great question, but for me, more and more, it makes me learn about my journey here. Is what is there, like you said, is there a specific event that led me here? I would say no, just this, the event of life is what led me here. Living through experiences, dealing with the doubts and insecurities of your own self. And then how can you relate that to something bigger, not to get discouraged, not to turn, not to be led astray? How do you not do that? And like I said, I've tried all these different things to keep me from that, but I've found that Islam is, and the more I learn, like I said, it's more of what's keeping me here more than anything else. The more that I learn, the more I'm attracted to it. So again, great question. And this is like a ongoing question that I'm probably going to ask myself for the rest of my life is, what is that specific event? But really, what is going to be the next event that's going to keep me here? This might be the best way to say it, because each day, each step, each more I go deeper. I can't wait to experience Ramadan. That is something that I know it's going to be special, but at the same time, to actually live it, I think I'll be honored to get to partake in it. So I'm looking forward to that too. But each life event that's going to come up, each struggle, each opportunity to help others, I'm going to use what I've learned, and here to do those sorts of things, and bring what I can to what I find to be the best religion out there. So I think that's all I got today. If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to ask. I will also put this in the video as if there are any other new reverts out there and they would like to share their revert experience, contact SGM Islam, because there might be that other person out there who could be inspired from your revert experience. Iman Khan has another question, is what is God to you? This is a great question too, as I think it's just the beginning of the Quran. I think it's I wish I could knew more in terms of an explanation, but the Quran in the beginning puts it, I think it's the first chapters put it together. What is God to me? At least they put it into the best words, as He would be all-knowing. He'd be the absolute. All praise would go to Him. Everything happens because of Him. So this is another question that, it's a great question, but I think I would need to be a bit more scholarly, do more study to explain it better. All right. If there are no other questions, I will close this live up. Again, I'm a new revert to Islam, and I'm just sharing my revert experiences here on this live. And I was going to was asked by SGM Islam to do a Q&A session to see if anyone had any questions about my revert experience. So if they do, they can just put them in the chat right there, and I will gladly answer them to the best ability. But again, I just want to thank SGM Islam again for allowing me to share my experiences here on the channel. As again, if there is, I like to create things, so I'm not a professional video creator, but at the same time, this gives me an opportunity to express some of my creative abilities, at least online, and make some videos that might inspire some others. So again, thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Inshallah, we will maybe do another one of these in the future. Have a good night.